Greetings, gang. And here is our third segment of characteristics of leadership on the subject of integrity. Proverbs 10:9 says, "The man of integrity walks securely, but he who walks crooked paths will be found out." The most important ingredient of leadership has to do with integrity. If someone is said to have integrity, what do you assume? Well, you assume that what they say is what they're going to do. They're going to be truthful. They're going to be honest. They're going to be open. If something has integrity, you can trust it. Here's a good cartoon here that I took a few shortcuts on the foundation. No one will ever notice. That's the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which is amazing that it's still standing. But nevertheless, integrity is a key item when we think about our leadership. Integrity is defined as the state of being complete or unified. Too many folks in our world, in terms of our leadership, where the words and the deeds don't seem to match up, tends to be in short supply in today's culture. And some would say that we make every decision based on either seeking pleasure or avoiding pain. Again, how those decisions lay out and what we choose to do has a lot to do with whether or not we can be trusted in terms of our leadership. The gentleman's picture that you see here is someone who modeled integrity in an avenue or a place that didn't have a lot of examples of integrity. I wonder if you know who he is. We'll ask this question in class, but I guarantee you, if you have been around West Michigan for any bit of time, you have seen his name as he is associated with something in our town. So we'll have some fun with that when we come back to class on Thursday. People with integrity have no divided loyalties. There's no pretending. They are whole people, single-minded, have nothing to hide or fear, and they're not what they do, but it's about who they are. They represent that level of trust and integrity and honor in the person that they are, and it comes through in the things they do, for sure. Again, they're very singularly focused. They're not pretending, no hypocrisy in them at all. And there's some folks that they can be trusted. The first key to greatness, Socrates reminds us, is that to be in reality what we appear to be. And so to be consistent, not to be two-faced, not to be someone in one avenue and be somebody completely different in another. Too often we try to be human doing before we become human beings. And so to earn the trust of a leader, the leader has to be authentic. And so that authenticity, that being real, that being genuine, is a critical component if we're going to be effective as a leader. The group Switchfoot has a great song and a line in it that says, "Are you who you want to be?" I'll probably play this at the beginning of class on Thursday, but it's a great song that talks about integrity, being the person you are in secret as you are in public. So if what I say and what I do are the same, the results are consistent. So if I say be on time and I arrive on time, the folks that we work with will arrive on time. As a leader, if we say be positive and I exhibit a positive attitude, more than likely our followers will be positive. If we say put the customer first and I put the customer first, they will put the customer first. But if I say be on time and I arrive late, then some will come late. If I say be positive, but I'm negative, some will be negative. And the same is true when it comes to putting customers first. So integrity, therefore, is more caught than it is taught. A great phrase to hang on to. So most of our followers, what they hear, they understand. What they see, they believe. So there's a credibility test that comes into this. The more credible you are, the more people will trust you and the trust that they'll put in you. And so again, your credibility is directly tied to that trust, and your trust is directly related to your own integrity. So, why is integrity so important? It is because it builds trust. If we are real and true, people will follow. If we are phony, we will fail. Every leader must build credibility. There's a great quote here from Kevin Roberts that says, "If my people understand me, I'll get their attention. But if they trust me, I'll get their action." So that trust is a big part of any type of leadership. Integrity has a high influence value. Emerson made this comment, says, "Every great institution is the length and the shadow of a single person. Their character determines the character of the organization." Check out this paragraph here from John Maxwell's book, Developing the Leader Within You. He tells this story. He says, "Regrettably, we tend to forget the high influence value of integrity in the home." R.C. Sproul, in his book Objections Answered, tells about a young Jewish boy who grew up in Germany many years ago. The lad had a profound sense of admiration for his father, who saw to it that the life of the family revolved around the religious practices of their faith. The father led them to the synagogue faithfully. In his teen years, however, the boy's family was forced to move to another town in Germany. This town had no synagogue, only a Lutheran church. The life of the community revolved around the Lutheran church, and all the best people belonged to it. Suddenly, the father announced to the family that they were all going to abandon their Jewish traditions and join the Lutheran church. When the stunned family asked why, the father explained that it would be good for his business. The youngster was bewildered and confused. His deep disappointment soon gave way to anger and a kind of intense bitterness that plagued him throughout his life. Later, he left Germany and went to England to study. Each day found him at the British Museum formulating his ideas and composing a book. In that book, he introduced a whole new worldview and conceived of a movement that was designed to change the world. He described religion as the opiate for the masses. He committed the people who followed him to life without God. His ideas became the norm for the governments for almost half of the world's people. His name, you get it, was Karl Marx, founder of the communist movement. The history of the 20th century, and perhaps beyond, was significantly affected because one father let his values become distorted. And so, again, that lengthened shadow is responsibility of a father, for sure. Integrity facilitates high standards. Leaders must live by higher standards than their followers. What do you think about that? You think that's true? That'll be something we'll definitely want to discuss in class. But what do you think? Should leaders have a higher standard? John D. Rockefeller Jr. said, "I believe that every right implies a responsibility, and every opportunity an obligation, and every possession a duty." So I want to engage a little bit in this conversation about rights and responsibilities. So when the character of the leader is low, so are their standards. So rights decrease as you climb in the organization, but responsibilities increase as you climb in the organization. So check that out just to see how much we recognize that as our rights get less as we move up in the organization, and our responsibilities continue to grow. And so we have left things that are afforded to us because of that. Integrity, then, is result in a solid reputation, not just image. More time you spend on image versus integrity. Again, our culture is so focused on image. It's crazy. Are you image or an integrity builder? First, let's start with consistency. Are you the same person no matter who you are with? Choices. Do you make decisions that are best for others when another choice would benefit you? Credit. Are you quick to recognize others for their efforts and contributions to your success? 3 good litmus tests to see whether we're an image builder versus an integrity builder. I get it. It's easier said than done. So who are you when no one is looking? We all wrestle this, that our humanity comes through in these kind of things. But if we're going to work towards building our integrity, we need to make sure that we are consistent no matter what group that we are with. Here's a video I want to show you called The Making of a Model. And it is just the demonstration of how advertising skews things and gives us a picture that isn't even reality.
Ready, quiet, please. Cameras forward. Then we're recording sound. Slate it.
Let me make a few corrections here on how the screen kind of fits into our program here. So again, looking at how image plays out in our culture is definitely a value that's very different than what we see within the context of God's Word and also in terms of building integrity. Fifthly, integrity means living it myself before leading others. So what does that look like? Well, we can't lead others further than we have been ourselves. And again, trying to model the things that we want others to follow in this. Paul talks about this. Be imitators of me, then. He talks about, and so we need to recognize that we want to do the same. Quality Controller says that we are not concerned about the product, but we are concerned about the process. I love this quote. If the process is right, the product is guaranteed. So we need to pay attention more to about the process, really necessarily than the outcome, because the outcome will come if the process is right. So therefore, we need to play like we practice, or we need to practice like we're going to play. You don't slough off, you focus on what you're doing. So doing things behind the scenes, that's why I think a personal devotional life is important for us as spiritual leaders. We need to make sure that we're in God's Word, we're praying, we're journaling, we're taking time of solitude, and reflecting God's Word as often as we possibly can. Integrity helps a leader to be credible, not just clever. Credible leadership is not the result of being clever, but rather of being consistent. There's a great word for us, to be consistent no matter where we are. Leaders who are sincere don't have to advertise. The only way to keep goodwill and high esteem is to deserve it. Ann Landers, who used to write a newspaper article and written a lot of books, who says, people of integrity expect to be believed, and they know time will prove them right when they're willing to wait. Great stuff. Integrity is a hard-won achievement. Integrity is never given away, it's earned through self-discipline, inner trust, relentless honesty. And our culture lacks numerous models of this. So who will be that next model of integrity? Maxwell talks about a mentor test. Am I true to my leader, the one that's in me? All the top honchos learn from another. So who are you availing yourselves to as a mentor? Do you recognize the picture of this gentleman to your right? That is Walter Payton, who was just an incredible running back in my day in terms of watching football for the Chicago Bears. But he had a workout regimen that was unlike anybody else's. So I'm going to try to show this here, see if we can get this one to work as well. It's coming.
I often wondered about his stamina, how he could just keep going on and on and on like that. And then he once told me about his workout routine, his training routine, running those hills down in Mississippi on those deltas and burning out guys who'd come out to run with him, track guys, burning them all out and torturing himself.
Would you talk about how you go about conditioning yourself in the off season? What do you do to stay in shape?
I could explain it in one word, but then I know what you're going to ask me. Then you're going to ask me to explain it more. What I try to do is I try to kill myself.
What do you mean?
I work myself up to the extent where when I'm through, I can't walk.
Payton's conditioning regimen astounds people. And he keeps increasing his fitness program as he gets older. There's a steep hill near his home. It has become an obsession with him.
The hill is probably, there are places around the country where you have the Widowmaker and all this other stuff. But the hill is something that if you had to give it a name or a description, it'd probably be either a goal setter or a will maker. Because once you start working out on it, you set a goal. First, when you first start out,
What's it made of?
it's made out of black dirt.
You go out and
It's already there. It's about 60, between 50 and 60 yards long, and it's at an angle. You got halfway to the top, and you tried to stop, you would probably end up slipping down. But it's what it is. Once you go there and you run it the first time, it humbles you to the extent that the next time you go there, you got to beat it. You got to set it. So if you did 5 the first time, you go back and your goal is to do 6 or 7, to keep going, to always beat it. And see, you find yourself going to a point where it's no win for you.
For many, the image of Walter and his hill will last forever, and perhaps it is fitting that no one else can ever claim to be king of that hill.
They turned into a par 3 golf course. It's not there anymore.
All right, getting back into our program. Let's see if I can get this back where we need to be. There we go. So, Walter, a person of integrity, just is, again, living out that stuff behind the scenes. Just a couple more slides here. The masses test. It asks, am I true to my followers? To realize that my decisions affect others in the things that I do. So recognize that we teach what we know and we reproduce what we are. And so getting a good focus on those things as we try to live and lead others in the process. Modeling dependability, experts say that the followers expect these 4 things from their leaders: honesty, competence, vision, and inspiration. So there you go, integrity. So how about you? Who are you availing yourself to? What are your convictions? And I want you to ask someone who knows you well enough in the areas of your life, do they see consistent? What do you hear what they say? And what areas do they see as inconsistent? Great exercise to get into from folks that know you well. Thanks for your indulgence here. Look forward to hearing your response as well as we discuss these in class. Until next time.